In this video, there are a few things that I was wanting to talk about, and I was thinking about maybe writing them down so that I could remember them and then go through each one and talk about them, but I decided that the most important thing is just the flow, not the specifics, but the place that I want to be speaking from is really the message. And the first thing that I was going to talk about was this instance that I had that is still still hits me. And when I say that it still hits me, it's still a confrontation. The best teachings seem to be a sort of confrontation, and this confrontation came from somebody that I consider my teacher. You know, we're always constantly teaching, even if it's not with our words. We're always emitting some sort of teaching, some sort of vibration, you can say, that other people pick up on. And I had made a post.
How you doing?
Good, how are you doing? We got some intruders, but that is totally fine. I had made a post in regards to a song that I made, and I was thinking about what do I write for the caption of it? And I wrote something that I thought, I guess, was funny. Sort of saying that I have nothing to say other than just these words, so I'm just typing them out kind of thing. And I got a response from my teacher who said, "You actually do know what to say. Don't think about it, feel it. Be of use to the Holy Spirit. And if you don't resonate with the Holy Spirit, with a higher power, with your higher, truest, most authentic self, tune into that, and there's always wisdom to be shared with your brothers and with your sisters." And that hit me because I realized that I do all sorts of things to avoid that vulnerability. It's easier, almost in a sense, playing small by just avoiding this openness, and to have the courage to say whatever needs to be said. However that looks, doesn't need to be any sort of way other than just a true response from spirit. Yeah, that sort of paradigm for me is very relaxing because it just automatically shifts me from this idea of separation, that I need to say this sort of right thing, or there's different aspects that I'm in control of or not in control of, when the truth is, man, God is running the whole show. Everything. And to continuously trust that, continuously be open to that. Some people might even say to die into that, and to die into that means letting go of the egoic responses and just really becoming a channel for something that's helpful and useful, not just for me or for a select group of people, but getting in touch with this higher inspiration is just beneficial for everybody. And what gets interpreted or understood in any sort of message is completely beyond my control. And thank God. There's not a whole lot of pressure to say the exact right thing. It's to get into this space that we all understand, because genuinely and truly it's all who we are. This being. One being. Many different forms. So yeah. We are always teaching no matter what, and we teach what we need to learn. So that's another little pointer that's been helpful to me, because I still have some sort of conditioning that I need to be a certain level to say a certain thing, and maybe there is some sort of truth to that, to avoid being completely hypocritical. But I mean, in one way, we're all kind of hypocrites. Oh man. How do I avoid being a hypocrite? Just realize that there is a plan, and to open myself as much as I can to that, and to speak my truth as courageously as possible. It's not my truth, it's the truth, because the truth disintegrates. It breaks apart, it blows open, it just totally deconstructs any sort of version or picture of who I thought I was in my head, and allows for something that's free and something that's always been here to rise to the surface. It's a nice, beautiful day here, just enough wind. We got the sun out. It's a beautiful day, but what makes this day beautiful is that inner understanding that everything is just the way that it's supposed to be. There's a singularity to the experience. So even me speaking into this camera and somebody listening to it is still one thing happening. It's still a perfect happening. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's been very bizarre, this relationship that I've had with music. I think this is pretty relatable to, man, if you're watching this, you can relate to it in some way. It doesn't necessarily have to be music. It's some sort of craft that you have that's just really all consuming. It's sort of all consuming for me, because I've had this idea of what I wanted to manifest in music, and I knew kind of the dynamics of how I wanted my sound to sound, and now I finally feel like I hit a point where it's like, wow, things have come together in a way where I'm making stuff that at one point I was just dreaming and wishing and hoping that someday I possibly would have the knowledge even to know how to do. And it's coming. And still, it's not the answer that I'm looking for. It's good to have some failures. It's good to have some successes, to realize it's really not what I'm looking for, which is interesting. Yeah, this surrender goes deep, and it just keeps going. The surrender of wanting the next thing, wanting, just gets seen through. And any wanting is generally a representation of some form of forgiveness that I haven't extended primarily to myself and then secondarily to other people. Secondarily meaning still it's a relationship with my own self. And that things are just the way that they're supposed to be. And even if they look different, they would still be the way that it's supposed to be, because this inner realization of perfection, understanding that this place is a place of this planet, that's what I mean when I say this place, is a place of growth. They say it's a place to come to and to die. Which is interesting, because that does seem to make sense. At the same time, realizing that's not the whole of existence. It's just a very specific. This third dimensional reality is just one aspect of literally an infinite viewpoints that we have of a multi-dimensional personality of who we really are. And these practices put us into touch with something that's just far greater than this world. And there's so much beauty here, but also it just kind of feels like you can, this like weight vest it can loosen up a little bit when you realize this isn't the whole point, or the idea in my head of what I thought life was about is actually not what it's about at all. There's experiences that are destined to happen that on one level, like on the human level, you might say, no, I do not want that. That is miserable, that is suffering, and yes, perhaps that is true. But on a deeper level, yes, I do choose that, and I do want that, and there's experience to be gained from that. There's wisdom to be accrued and expansion and growth to happen, which is what the soul seems to really desire, is that expansion. Not to have any limits on it. This seems to be a bit of a rant, but that's okay. I needed to say it. I needed to speak out loud that everything's good. You needed to hear everything is good. It really is. And any sort of emotional processing that you may be experiencing, some sort of inner alchemy that's happening, it's all part of the process, man. Every good thing, every bad thing that happened to you led you up to this point to be able to really sink in and remember what's happening, what's going on, and what's going on is you. Everything that's happening is you. Keep my finger on my nose, it's me. Well, what do I do if I'm really going through it and it just doesn't make sense? Nothing makes sense. This life, the games that we play, go get money, go do this relationship, go do that, go have that experience. What if that kind of dries out in a sense? I understand, I relate. Go do what you gotta do, burn through whatever you gotta burn through to hit a point of just being cool and relaxed. I can go through these like cycles or like these sprouts of just like really intense, almost chaotic energy where it's like I get almost this mania and this obsession for awakening, wanting to speed up the process. And you probably can relate if you've made it this far into the video and you're still listening. Speed up the process, burn through what I need to burn through. And you can do certain things with that. Be intense with your practice, be all in on your practice. Self-reflect, go to this inner place. Let this forgiveness happen. Allow it to grow. Allow it to change. And at the same time, realize grace is doing everything. God is in charge. I heard a summary of A Course in Miracles where you attune to the peace of God. You allow that to bring you close enough to God, to God's love, for God's love to do the rest for you. I can resonate with that. That makes a lot of... That seems to feel very right. And at the end of the day, how are you going to measure truth other than peace of mind? Peace of mind is mental health. All right, you guys. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment down below. I love to interact with you guys. Like, subscribe, all of that good jazz, and we will talk soon.